for you a moment today that you think, wow, I'm just never going to forget that moment?
Well, there's several of them, but just to highlight at least one or two of them, I had a pastor friend here, Stephen Wells. He pastored.
Well, we believe that you're mind, body, and spirit. So you're not
Friends from the neighborhood that he grew up in. They wanted, oh yeah, okay. They wanted to close it all out right here, and they wanted to do it in a Christian setting because they know that if it does not immediately bring closure, at least it will forward in their lives. And I think that with the children, with the brothers and sisters, I think they're all going to be okay. We're going to stick right there with them.
I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio because I'm not sure who's on the site there at the church. I think Marla Carter is there at the church at Silver Lake Community Church, but I'm going to send it back in the studio.
Yes, and Gina, you're right. They are now moving this beautiful gold casket from the hearse into that white carriage that we have been watching all afternoon, and ready to make that final journey. And it was great to hear from the co-pastors because they really did have an uplifting celebration. The family left that church and came here, followed along with the body, and now they are to get through. Those other two carriages are there for those family members, so they will be following along. We see those football balloons that you mentioned there, and we have heard that these other two carriages are for the family members as they make their way into the cemetery, where Garden Cemetery. And we believe that the family members will be riding in those carriages, but certainly will also be able to just the hundreds and hundreds of people lined up to pay their respects. And as you mentioned, just a very beautiful before they get there. And again, they will make their way down Cullen. And as you see, the photographers kind of getting closer to all of the people there lined up that have kind of made their way into the church parking lot here, into the church grounds. It's just overflowing with people. So many people, and you'll certainly see them as they make their way down Cullen, guys.
Yeah, no-pained carriage here. Make its way down. Again, at this point, looks like
for that horse-drawn carriage carrying George Floyd to arrive here to the Houston Memorial Gardens, as well as his family, where here will be probably the first, kind of private event, private service that they have had for George Floyd.
Family out there today. And, Stefania, we were talking about this particular, and so you can see the heat waves coming off of that street there, and those black and just really thousands of people. We don't have the aerial shot for you, but when we look at these crowds, you can just see how many people are out there as these white carriages come by holding that gold casket with George Floyd, and everyone taking a moment to pay tribute. So many families out there.
Feels in the shade. Keep in mind, all of these people are so dedicated.
Continue to make their way to where the meeting that he will be enacting out of the Houston Police Department. We'll get to that piece of his sermon in just a bit as we watch the horse-drawn carriage make its way right in front of our cameras. Get that close-up look there of the gold casket inside the horse-drawn carriage. Turner went on to say that he will be signing an executive order banning chokeholds within the city of Houston. Obviously, no longer allowed to be used, from what Mayor Turner was saying during his sermon as he went on to speak there, by Houston police officers. Another live picture here of this horse-drawn carriage making its way to its final resting site. Again, just a lot of people here lining the procession as it makes its way
there. As the mayor was speaking, you could see so many of them wearing the color of light, and really making sure that they celebrated the life of George Floyd in telling their stories.
To get down there on the street since it's closed down and just get as close as possible to this. At one time, Eyewitness News and the artist Donkey Boy just started it and finished it overnight with his mother. So many murals popping up around town that we'll be seeing for years to come here as well.
Horse-drawn carriage.
And some of the family members is there.
Yeah. Beautiful gold casket there.
And you know what makes this so beautiful as well, Melanie, is that it's really it's a public event. It's for everyone. The family wanted to make sure that everyone felt engaged with this very public figure. Imagine going from really no one knowing you outside of your family circles to now your name is mentioned throughout the world. And so that's the case here as thousands gather and watch this very public display here as this trying to get to the cemetery.
We heard just a moment ago for Stefania that there may be some sort of medical crisis out there. Let's go back to her live right now. And there's some...
We're having some audio breakup here as a result. You can't really hear the crowd, but
actually, I think
there
they're
you can
chanting his name.
Right,
George
yeah,
Floyd,
they're chanting his name as they go in, but you can't hear them because of some audio difficulty we're having. But this is, by the way, a private funeral service that they're going to have once they get into the cemetery area. They will have the public, of course, will not be invited. It's a very private service, but everything else has been public. Everything else has been for the entire world to see, really.
Yes, and once they go inside into the cemetery, we will not be able to follow them in there.
Right.
That's where they do want to have their final private moments.
Eager to kind of just support, take pictures, chant his name, send messages to his family that's also following in front of the procession. At the head of the procession, actually walking from the church, Melanie and Art, was Houston Police Chief and Assistant Chief R.I.P and Troy Finner. They were also followed by, I believe, Floyd's brothers who also walked from that church. Right now, the crowd is screaming. You can see the vans entering.
And you saw someone there sitting and I'm not sure who that is, but waving out the window there, whether or not that's one of his family members, just taking some video.
Yeah.
I'm sure from the inside out, looking at this huge crowd, it is absolutely stunning.
Desperately wanting to be there, enjoying the entire process, waiting for hours. It's not been easy, but they really want to do it.
Right, it's not easy. I mean, just to kind of put things in perspective for you guys, this is not about me, but I have on a sleeveless dress and I am dripping in sweat, like my mask, everything, my face, and these people have been out here longer than me because we got here just about 2 o'clock and there was already hundreds lining Cullen Road here waiting for this moment that they're witnessing right now, the arrival of George Floyd and his family to his final resting place. And I mean, as I mentioned, I believe there was a medical issue earlier, but it appears to have been handled. I'm not sure if that person was taken to the hospital or whether they were just able to provide water for him. But the rest of these people, they've been here in the sweltering heat. As you mentioned, it's extremely hot. I believe the highest heat index of the week, but that is not stopping them from coming out by the hundreds. Everyone is in very close proximity. Most people have on masks, which is a good thing because we are in the middle of a pandemic, but this is something that we have seen have not stopped millions of people across the country.
But really an extraordinary scene, isn't it, Melanie, as you look at those folks just standing? Yeah.
It's incredible to see all of these people there. And what's interesting to me, and I don't know if we'll be able to get back to Stefania or not, a lot of the windows are down in those cars that are carrying family members and other close friends and the like. And you've got to wonder what that conversation is between the people outside and the folks over and over again and said, you know, this is our hometown.
There's an example right there, a wonderful example. Powerful display of emotion, of love, concern for what's ahead as well. And how this man, you know, seemingly instigated a movement that has really been profound.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we get a shot there from Sky to give you some sense for just close to a mile so that they were able to at least be able to have an interaction with the crowd there.
As all of these cars are coming in, Melanie, and one of the buses just came in, one of the limousine charters came in, and you could see a man standing at the front of the bus. Not sure if that is a family member or just a friend, but he was pumping his fists in the air, and I could read their lips. They were saying, "What's his name?" And the crowd was screaming, "George Floyd." Of course, we couldn't hear the man that was on the bus because there's no windows to roll down, but I could read their mouths. They were saying, "What's his name?" And they were getting this amazing energy back from the crowd. They're screaming George Floyd, and the cars that you see, this is exactly what we've been seeing. Some of them can roll their windows down, and they're showing the crowd their appreciation for their support. While this is going to be a private burial and the public is not allowed, I've probably seen, I mean, maybe well over 50 cars come in, and that includes about 3 charter buses that were completely full. So there will certainly, without a doubt, be hundreds of people inside the cemetery for this private burial.
Looks like he's being handcuffed, yeah.
Of all of this, yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, not sure what he did. We only caught part of that, of course. when he was being asked to possibly move back, because you can see the crowd is off to the side. Perhaps he was rushing the vehicle and they wanted to get him back. But there's the horse-drawn carriage. His casket, golden casket there in that glass carriage, which is absolutely beautiful. White carriage, and then of course the family was dressed in white there at the church for what would be, I think that was a 4-hour service perhaps, or 4.5 hours. But there they are going into the funeral home, where there will be a private burial service. This is only family attending, but they're large family and friends as well, because there are a lot of influential individuals who have been part of this as well, and they've been asked to go ahead and attend that as well.
Yeah, people flying in literally from all over the country.
Gold casket inside of a clear box so the crowd could see. They were chanting, say his name, George Floyd. His family came in as well. People had so much energy here. And, you know, I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth mentioning again. Although this was a private burial, people still showed up by the hundreds to welcome George Floyd and his family here to the Houston Memorial Garden for this private burial service. This has all been, as we've been telling you throughout the day, a very kind of public event for the family. They've had cameras everywhere from each service. They've addressed the media, of course, and thanking crowds and protesters across the world for shouting, and they showed up here. And so now we have all family and friends inside of the Houston Memorial Gardens. No cameras allowed, but we have been invited to observe, so I will be doing that and bringing you guys the details on that later today. But for now, this is the crowd that you have outside the Houston Memorial Garden. They are chanting for family and friends.
Later, so they have been out there a long time, since 2 o'clock under the blazing sun with a heat index of 110 at least.
Yeah, brutal day. But
Really
we do want
has
to
been.
talk about the pictures we're now seeing on the right side there of your screen. This is Sky Eye flying above the location where they will now have the final ceremony. And this is really the one time when it's just the family.
Right.
This will be their
Right.
last goodbye to George Floyd there. So you can see that structure, which gives at least some cover from this heat.
Yeah.
But they will be able to go in, and he will be buried next to his mother. And as you may remember from that horrific video that so many of us have now seen, one of the last things he did was to cry out for his
mother,
who passed away almost 2 years ago.
Right, but there's no doubt that she understands well enough what her son has done
Absolutely.
to change the world, really.